The next speech is called Tales from the Support: How Customer Experiences Shape a Product. Please welcome Douglas Bakkum. Come on.
Let's see. Can we leave this here? Okay, hello. Hi, so great to be here. Thanks for the organizers for putting this on. I was told that the theme of this event is level up. And, excuse me, how I think this talk fits into that is that customers, for example, through customer support, often share their experiences, give very valuable information about products. And companies can and should listen to that, improve their products, take that together, and you can improve the overall ecosystem. And by improving the ecosystem, you can make it more accessible for others to join, take part, and take advantage of what Bitcoin can offer. And I think you can create a virtuous cycle. And so in this talk, we're going to lift the hood a little bit about customer support, how we see it, and a little bit of our philosophy. And so for an intro slide, I tried to figure out something from customer support that I could share. So my name is Douglas. I'm I guess, founded this BitBox business about a decade ago in Switzerland. And our company makes hardware wallets. I don't think I have to explain what hardware wallets are to this audience. And we make this black thing in this picture. We don't make the white things, the electrical outlet or the USB adapter, but the BitBox itself. You can't see that there's a USB-C male on the BitBox itself, but someone decided to plug it into their wall. I'll get back to that a little bit. Yeah, so who am I? When I started the company, I did basically everything, so in customer support also, but now I'm only the CEO. What do I want to talk about today? So this talk will be divided into 3 parts. One is why talk about customer support at all. The second is what is customer support like for us. And I'll have some examples at the end that may be amusing, may be scary. And so back to this slide. So this was a customer. They wrote to us. They said, the BitBox isn't charging. Every time I unplug it, the screen goes blank. But if you know anything about the BitBox, it doesn't have a battery in it. It's not designed for that. If you look on the app, or on the display of the BitBox itself, it says, let's get started, see the BitBox app. If you look at the BitBox app, it would say, please plug in your BitBox. And so, yeah, this customer got stuck at that point. And so I won't go into the details of BitBox itself, but yeah, it's designed to plug directly into phones and computers. So why talk about customer support? We're not really aware of too many companies actually publicly talking about customer support. Maybe they are, we don't know. Maybe it's taboo. Maybe companies think, OK, why talk about broken products? Or they think if you have more and more customer support tickets, maybe that's not a good thing. We have a different philosophy. So we're an open source company. That's part of our core philosophy. We're open source, transparent about our code, our hardware. And we thought we'd give it a shot today with some new material and talk about customer support. Maybe lift the hood a little bit about that and add some transparency. So why talk about support? First of all, there's lots of knowledge to be gained. So there's very valuable feedback. Another core philosophy of our company is privacy. So we really try to respect the privacy of individuals. That includes not tracking customers by choice, by design, but also if people are doing self-custody, we just can't track a lot of things. This is an example. This is a Exodus website. It's not the software wallet, but a different website where you can input a mobile app, an APK, and it'll tell you independently if there's any trackers in your device. So there are some permissions like web camera, file storage, things like that. And so we're not getting customer data in that way, and so the only way we can get customer data is by directly talking to customers. And so customer support's very important for us. And customers, they will tell you what they need. Furthermore, if you're in the field for a decade, or you're technically, you understand, you pick it up quickly, you're in the space for a while, you can often lose sight of what it was like at the very beginning. You can't think about beginner questions, things you just take for granted. This is a common analogy of the smartphone. Yeah, if you use a smartphone every day, it becomes kind of second nature. Younger generations grow up with it, so it's almost more so a part of their body than a new technology. But if you're Harold here, maybe it's a challenge. And so we try to do better for our customers, and what that means is, of course, try to fix problems, make it simpler, make it more intuitive. But it's also trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the customer to look at things from their perspective. And customer support feedback gives a lot of information for that. And of course, in Bitcoin, mistakes are forever, so customer support's absolutely crucial, security-wise too, in the sense that you need to be very careful about sensitive topics, which we'll get into a little bit later. Because, for example, if a customer sends funds to the wrong address, you can't recover that. I'll skip over this one for time. So what is customer support like? I should take a step back and say that we're a consumer company, so we sell directly to customers. So I'm not talking about customer support in the sense of B2B business, where you have very close hand-holding and very extensive and detailed conversations. So when you have a BTC company with a massive volume of customers, that's just not possible time-wise. And so customer support to us is mainly through email. That's our primary channel, where we welcome feedback from people. You may think it looks like this, where someone's in a call center, you call them up, you say your problem, they give you a list of, OK, do this, 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 and your problem's fixed. But it's rarely like that. It's more like a self-help group or Alcoholics Anonymous, actually. And the reason I say this is because of self-custody. So with self-custody, with hardware wallets, you get financial sovereignty. That means you're in charge. We're not in charge. There's no database where we can change some value and fix your problems. That doesn't exist. There's no dashboard, no customer account where we can change settings and fix your problem. And so customers have to explain their problem with us, and it's often a circular conversation to figure out what the problem is, and then they're the ones that they're in control, so they're the ones that actually have to do all the steps to fix it. And so, yeah, we're here to help you walk through the stage, but in the end, you're ultimately responsible for fixing the problem. And so, yeah, just a high-level breakdown of our support tickets. Say about half of our tickets are actually just Bitcoin basics, so educational things, like what's an address, what tokens do you support, things like that. I'm going to give some examples about, some of the examples are going to come from this. I think it's also important to note that for a lot of customers, we're actually their first, maybe only source of information about the basics, and we welcome this. So a lot of customers are actually coming to us for basic educational aspects. The other support tickets are more mundane, so shipping issues or trying to change orders or people reaching out to us for like marketing, job applications, things like that. Of course, we do have broken products too, but this is a pretty minor amount of the tickets. And that's usually happens when, for example, a couple years ago, we got a batch of defective screens. They passed the initial Q&A, but after a month of use, they would shut off. And so we had to go through and deal with that. And that's something that happens for any hardware business. So what's customer support like? Inside it, like taking the lid off a little bit. So we have a small support team. They're the only ones who have access to the support tickets, but they do share these support tickets anonymized with the rest of the team if it's new, if it's interesting. And in our internal company chat, everyone's a member of the support channel. And so for a couple of reasons, one is to get direct feedback if we're answering a technical question. Another is just to kind of make it part of our culture that we're aware of customers, we're aware of the issues, and try to develop in a customer-centric point of view. Yeah, and I would also say that our support ticket system is self-hosted because we don't trust third parties to keep customer data safe. And so, yeah, moving into examples. Start with some harmless and fun stories. And I would say that the point of these examples is not to laugh at customer stories, not at all. It's more so to try to figure out the customer perspective and try to, again, as a challenge, put ourselves into their shoes. And being experts, there will be things that surprise you that come up. And so the first one is, how do I send Bitcoin to my bank account? And so basic things like this. Of course, the blockchain is not compatible with SWIFT or SEPA payment rails. But from the customer's point of view, if they have a euro bank account and they want to spend or send someone US dollars, they can do that through their bank. Why can't they do it with their hardware wallet? Kraken says my Bitcoin address is not correct. What am I doing wrong? And I would also say, to take one step back, so these are, I guess, paraphrase support tickets. Also respecting privacy, we delete all support tickets after 30 days, after they're closed. Yeah, and of course, we keep track of what the actual high-level issues are. And so here in this screen, the BitBox app is on the left, and there's a Kraken withdrawal on the right. And if you look closely, I'm not sure you can see it, it says your address 20 of 20. And so the customer thought, OK, well, first of all, in Bitcoin, a rule of thumb is that you shouldn't do address reuse. And so in the app, we allow you to view multiple addresses. So you can send one to one person, one to another. And this customer thought that, oh, this is actually the 20th part of the same Bitcoin address. And so they scrolled through all 20 addresses, copy-pasted them together, and put that into Kraken. And of course, that wasn't working. So now that my BitBox is not turning on, the display just stays black. Can I get a replacement, please? And so, yeah, I mentioned the video issue or the screen issue earlier, but oftentimes it's a sticker issue. And so we supply a little sticker to protect the display, and you have to peel that off in order to see it. Do I have to keep my BitBox plugged in until the Bitcoin transaction is confirmed? It's 2 a.m. and I'm still waiting for confirmation. Please answer. And so this user was quite stressed out. And so this is harmless in the sense that, yeah, you can unplug your BitBox. You're not going to lose any coins. But from the customer's point of view, it's actually very harmful. He's losing his sleep, and he was dreadfully worried that he's going to lose his coins if he actually unplugs the BitBox. And so some basic misconceptions about how a Bitcoin network actually works. This one looks a little bit more harmful, but it's also not. Occasionally, we get police departments in different jurisdictions around the world. They ask us, please give us information about this user. But again, we don't track users. Even if we could, we can't get useful information like that. And because of financial sovereignty, you're in control. And so we tell this to the police, and they're like, OK, that's it. But customers also make similar misunderstandings where they ask us, OK, I'm closing my account. Can you please delete it? And so some fundamental misunderstandings, kind of taking the centralized exchange type of world, but it doesn't apply in decentralized case. And so now I have two more examples of some not so harmless, not so fun cases. The first one is when I open the BitBox app, it asks me to enter my recovery phrase. What should I do? And so I can't emphasize enough that you should never enter your seed phrase, your recovery words, into a website or onto an app, because it's often malware. It can be stolen. This customer thankfully knew that, and they contacted support to try to figure out, and we worked with them together. And what ended up happening was they downloaded malware a week or two prior. There was a Wasabi wallet, a malicious Wasabi wallet that was in the wild, and it was imitating the BitBox app and asking them to enter their seed words. And we worked together with this user, and he did a search on his computer for the BitBox, and we found a ton of screenshots on his computer. And what was happening was this malicious app in the background was constantly taking screenshots, not only of the BitBox app, but every app, every window on his computer, and sending that off to the attacker. And so, of course, once he has the last letter of the seed words, he has full control of the funds. So that's out of our control, but it's something we need to be aware of and something we try to inform the users about. So this is the last example. My BitBox app is suddenly empty. Where's my money? And so it says 0. In 99% of the cases, this is due to mistyping an optional passphrase. Optional passphrases, I guess people are familiar with it. But this happens a lot, and it's one reason why we recommend not to do this to new users. But we still give them the option, and this is harmful because if you can't remember it, you're out of luck. Your coins are gone. And so we address this by still allowing it to be chosen, but making it much harder to select. And so having a bunch of checkboxes, educating the user so that they're aware of what passphrases are and the risks involved. And that reduced our support by about 80% for this particular case. I mentioned 99%. The other 1% is more mundane, so for example, recovering from the wrong backup file. And so, yeah, to start the conclusion, given mistakes like this, can everyone hold their own keys? Is self-custody for everyone? I know there's some companies that say no, but we strongly disagree with that. We think yes. You can do that by making your product simple and providing education of sufficient quality along the way. And I guess you can think of it from a business point of view also, that if customers have these types of frictions, you see these frictions, that's a business opportunity. Because if you can solve these frictions, you can make business from it. And so I won't have time to go in detail, but just an example of making something easier, not harder. There's a really great documentary out recently about BlackBerry and how they basically got their lunch eaten by Apple, went from the market leader to almost 0. And they had listened to their customers, and they said that the #1 user-liked feature is the physical buttons that people press. But maybe if they spent a little bit more time looking at the negative support tickets, taking those a bit more seriously, maybe their business would have been different. And so the customer support team shares experience with the entire team. You can try to build education into your product. For example, in the BitBox app, we have an in-app guide. Get user feedback along the way. And so it's not only passively accepting information, you can also reach out with surveys and things like that. That's nothing new. But also consider talking to your support team when you're doing product development. And in conclusion, listen to your users, because oftentimes they're going to tell you things that you don't expect. Make your product easier, not harder to use. Easier is not only about UX, it's also about security, because simplicity is security. So with that, I'd like to thank you. I'd really like to thank our support staff, our excellent support staff. Without them, I couldn't give this talk. And without them, we wouldn't have 4.8 stars on Trustpilot. So thanks a lot to them. And thank you very much for listening.